Hey everybody, I'm GC13 here for the second season, though I missed the first.
And I'm Sophia. Let's get this started.
And I'm David, and I'm very excited to keep talking about Hilda. And this time we're only a few months behind instead of recording a whole year later after the introduction of the show.
Listen, we do it when we do it. You get it when you get it.
That's right. We really put high quality thoughts into this, for sure.
It's when we feel like watching Hilda.
Yeah, the first season got a little sad for me there, but the second season, which we are here to discuss, it goes to the sad places sometimes, but not as consistently.
No, it goes to spooky and fun places this season. Like, they really double down on the fear factor, and also pushing the boundaries of what would be considered, I would think, as traumatic experiences as a child. Like,
I think they have very much surpassed the boundaries of trauma.
Steven Universe explored the need for therapy a little bit, but
I don't
all
think
of
you
these
missed
kids,
the part where David watched somebody get cleaved in half.
and then was cleaved himself in the neck, Like,
He got
that's...
beheaded!
I mean, yeah, you hear him talk about it later, though. It's like, okay, everyone on my side survived.
He has no memory of it, so there we go. That solves the problem. No therapy for David.
David needs therapy for all sorts of reasons.
If our David needs therapy, that's their business.
Yes, two different Davids. We both might need it. So definitely it was a more thematically dark season. We got a little bit of conflict between mother and daughter in this one. A little pushing at the boundaries of relationships.
I really liked that. I really liked their relationship and how their conflict played out, and how they kept on kind of making up, but the problems still kept happening because Hilda is in fact a very rambunctious child who will continue to have rambunctious instincts, which will continue to get her into trouble.
Yeah, I like how it by the start of the season, it's just established and known, and Hilda feels as though she's established her character as, I just go on these otherworldly adventures all the time. Come on, Mom. This is just what I do. I mean, it's not a chosen one narrative. She's not freaking Harry Potter. There's no reason except for her blue hair, that she should be chosen by the world. But she's like, you know what? I do this. Yeah, it's dangerous, but somebody's got to be doing what I do.
Okay, to be fair to Hilda, she's been doing this since long before they came to Trollberg. So, why is this a problem now, all of a sudden?
I guess because she's lying about it.
Did her mother ever know about the troll she encountered in the first episode of the series?
Apparently she didn't talk about that either, because I think that's referenced in this season.
That's what I thought. Oh, yes, you're right, because she wrote the essay about it.
But it recontextualized season 1 for me a bit, because I remember thinking in those early episodes, their relationship felt so open. There wasn't, I would expect a show with a kid that goes on magical adventures. Normally that's kept a secret from the parent. But in this show, the parent was very aware and sometimes involved, and magical creatures came in and out like the woodsman, and it just felt as though they were sharing in their lives a little more and in the fantastical nature of it. But now, season 2 says, Hilda will leave behind her mom and her dog and not care, about how people feel until later.
I really like her as a character because she is genuinely a kind person. She's just not thinking about other people. If that makes sense. She doesn't want people to be upset, but she also, doesn't conceive of the fact that her actions will upset people.
That's Hilda for you.
She's like, oh, well, this wouldn't bother me.
I want to talk about the Woodman here. Just, his plan to rob the Draugen was... I mean, you want to talk about somebody who doesn't care about how others feel. You have Hilda, who wants people to be happy, but is unable to think about what's going to make them happy or sad when she wants something. And you have the Woodman who, this'll look nice. Will they be mad? Probably. Can I deal with it? Most likely.
Yeah, Woodman don't care.
He's great because I want to believe that he knows more than what's going on, but repeatedly he proves that's not the case.
Yeah, he just doesn't care.
completely selfish and whatever.
It's
but
funny.
I can't help
it's
it.
like the Garnet effect, where she's so stoic and quiet, everyone assumes she like knows everything and is super confident, and then freaking Rebecca comes in and be like, "No, Garnet's just awkward." And like she's socially awkward and doesn't know what to say, so she says nothing, and then comes off as super cool.
Yeah, and Woodman can't help it because he straight up cannot move his face, which I just realized is why he's so good at games like poker. I didn't even connect those pieces.
It's funny because like I didn't realize he really did not move his face in the slightest. A sound just emanated from him until it was just his head.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. It was just his head, and I'm like, wow, he really doesn't move when he speaks. That must be unnerving to like hold it and it's just like vibrating with his voice.
What about Victoria Van Gale, though? Do you think we'll ever see her again, should there be a third season? I mean, they could have easily written her off, but she's ready to be plucked out of nowhere whenever we need her.
Yeah, I think more adventures in Nessa Space Nowhere Land makes sense.
Didn't she die?
Although we haven't done...
No, she's somewhere, just, as a result of the catastrophic portal collapse. Like, who knows where she is?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. She may not actually be in Nowhere Space because people frequently go in there and then pop out somewhere else. Because she was on, like, a beach, and that's not what Nowhere Space looks like
that's
most
right.
of the
I
time.
forgot they did the little...
Yeah, little ending shot. Unless she was in heaven. But I don't think that's what they were giving us there.
She's in Wonderland.
Care for tea, anyone? Oh god, I'd like to see her hanging out with the Yule lads now.
Okay, Yule Lads episode.
That was so weird. We just literally
yes.
kidnapped children so they could die.
It's so disturbing. Like, again, that's one of those disturbing concepts. These, like, legitimately, you just look at it on its face. There's some kind of monster creature that needs the calories from either soup or living conscious beings. And because some people who seem to be of a different species than human, some elfin people, maybe did some bad things in their life, got caught by this monster, and now they capture for consumption human beings.
And have
they
succeeded.
happen to pick naughty kids because that's what, like, helped them feel a little better about it. But, like, legitimately in Hilda's world, children die every year because of these elves.
What?
And Johanna talked about it as if it was, like, a myth, but they made it sound like children actually disappeared every year. Like, how else were they feeding this thing?
Yeah, you'd think that if a dozen children disappeared every whatever that season was called, like maybe people would be like, maybe there's something to this myth. But then again, Joanna had been out of the city for a long time. This was her first season back.
I mean, it seemed like they planned on capturing quite a few people, though. Like, I could understand if it was 1 or 2 kids a year and it doesn't happen on the exact same date. It's like, winter, kids go out and play outside and they don't come back. That kind of thing just happens. But I don't know. Like, children seriously died, though. It's not just there's some people out fighting in the woods and they have healing potions, so it's all okay. No, they die.
Oh, okay. You wanna talk about the Eternal Warriors now? You wanna know my favorite thing about that episode? One of the Vikings legitimately has a bat'leth. Bat'leths are canon to Hilda. So yes, apparently, I don't know if the Vikings are just big fans of Star Trek or if Star Trek is Viking inspired in the world of Hilda, but Vikings have bat'leths. Vikings are Klingon warriors confirmed.
Hell yeah. That was fun. What a fun episode.
I like that those are, like, that's the fun episodes, though, of this season. Like, they still involve, serious problems.
Yeah, I love the zero explanation to the why they have glowing, like, wounds.
I mean, this is a world where magic is real, so why wouldn't they have magical weapons?
Yeah, it definitely helps with the horror. On the topic of death, I have, like, listings of every time someone dies.
No
in
way!
this season. One of the most, probably the most important one is Hilda's own death. Hilda, much like Steven Universe, sees herself die. And that's concerning to me because unlike the Steven and the Stevens episode where it kind of seems like our original Steven is the one that ends up living, It seems like that's not what happens here. I really think a different Hilda is the one that lives on. Because, oh my god, I mean, these timelines, I'm like Alfred trying to keep track of this thing. But future Hilda, there's a version of Hilda.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure future Hilda was the original Hilda.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
She
not good.
experienced the most. Uh-oh. Yeah, I love how Hilda having to watch herself die, and then two people in love die, is finally like, oh man, there are consequences to my actions.
But we were talking about Alpha's wonderful, brave, heroic attempts to catalog those timelines. I liked Alpha's episode.
I
this
loved
season.
Alfred's episode. I loved his little date.
Yeah, so like at the very end when he offered to co-author a report with her, that's like how elves ask each other out, right?
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
I loved the attempt to have, what was her name? Gretchen?
Who?
She likes to spit on things.
Yes, that was right, great. That was so funny.
To be the alternative to Alpha of all the possible
She
candidates.
volunteered.
That's right.
And no one's gonna tell her no.
I like that we do a fake ghost impersonation thing.
Yeah, where the ghosts are just as bureaucratic as the elves are, and it works entirely in his favor.
Right, because it works within the rules of, being like a cop and thinking the same way.
And I also love how he has, like, the Spock effect, where, like, amongst the party crew, he's considered very bureaucratic and, risk-averse, but amongst his own kind, he's seen as, like, a wild child. I like that.
And practically mythical and unbelievable. Like, no one believes his escapades.
Until they experience them firsthand, baby. So, I mean, I was relatively new to the Hilda fandom, having only started binging the series. Then, when we made it to the Old Bells of Trollberg, I'm like, okay, so there's a fan theory that guy is Hilda's father, right? And then, sure, I mean, like, that's what the language of that scene seemed to say to me. I mean, am I wrong here?
Well, you're saying the language of the scene, but all I see is a barely, I have to get out the computer, color hex tool to see the, blue-ish gray strip in his hair, which is, I'm pretty sure, what fuels anyone first is if there's a speck of blues in somebody's head.
I think the fandom just desperately wants a DILF.
That's what it is. That's what motivates all things on the internet.
I don't know, I feel like the author has made it clear that they don't care about Hilda's father.
Aww.
Yeah, no.
Just like Johanna. What?
You gotta feed the fan theories.
Yeah, but
No, I mean, he said basically, he's out there and just not involved in her life. So, this guy does exist, but it seems as though it's just not important to the story, and I think he'll probably leave it like that.
Well, I mean, it's not just the way he was watching them, but, left before Joanna could notice him. It was also the fact that he seems quite similar to Hilda, and that he is not bothered by the trolls, and in fact wants them to be generally happy. He's warning them away. The bell's about to ring, you idiots. Get out of here.
But as far as secret keeping goes, I don't think Johanna would not tell Hilda about her dad that lives in the same town as them. Maybe if he was in another town and it was a long time ago, sure. But that's pretty weird.
I don't know, maybe Joanna was just, going through some relationships and doesn't know specifically who it is.
Yeah, I can't wait for the episode where there's, 5 blue-headed bachelors, and, honestly, it could be any of them.
Here I was hoping that Gil from the Jorts incident could be the father. He seems like a really nice guy. That would be where Hilda gets it from.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Joanna's it probably could have been 3 people. I'm not gonna get a genetics test. I don't want to speak to them anyway. Here we are.
I have a cabin in the woods anyway, who cares?
Oh my god.
Climbed on a big boat and sailed away. Heard the waves and the water calling out for me.